So some guy from the YWC named Andre or Andrew or something Corbeil looked me up on Facebook, added me, went to my display picture just to tell me that I bear a striking resemblance to Scott D'Amour. And then Raw happened. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, and this is Road Signs, this is Raw, this is me with a fuckload of notes that about a Raw that built a lot towards Wrestlemania, and a lot of stuff that'll make me smile. I'm pretty sure it's par for the course what you guys think will make me smile. Something I didn't really understand, something I haven't understood for several weeks, is why they're doing this stupid Jon Stewart, Seth Rollins thing. I don't know. But we start the show off with Rollins, which is good. We show a replay of all the stuff back and forth between Jon Stewart and Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins walking out on the Daily Show, or whatever the hell Jon Stewart's show is. Then we see Seth Rollins in the ring. Jon Stewart is on his way here, and if you come here, Stewart, it better be to beg forgiveness. This is kind of shit for Rollins, who is legit a badass, and he's cutting promos on old talk show hosts, which is sad. You might as well just curb stomp David Letterman. But anyways, if you come here, it better be to beg forgiveness, because this is not going to be any half-assed Lawler Kaufman altercation, which is nice, you know, showing the history and all that sort of thing. I can do my job better than you. At least I don't have to give away tickets for free. All these people that paid for tickets here tonight paid to see me, which is fine and wonderful, and gets a very mixed reaction from the crowd in Newark, New Jersey. He says, "I am unstoppable." Roman Reigns comes out, because reasons. And he says, no, don't let me stop you. Continue what you're saying. I just came out here to hear other people tell you that you suck live. Rollins comes out, and he says, "I'm worth more than Michael Jordan. I can out-talk Jon Stewart. I can out-rap Wiz Khalifa. I can out-eat Mark Henry. And I can out-wrestle you, Roman Reigns. I will be the next champion. You can't beat Lesnar. I've been there. I know. I can beat Lesnar, and I can beat you." Roman, with the simplest and probably best response of the night. Last time I checked, you lost to Lesnar. Oh, yes. But then he says something brilliant. And I know people aren't going to give credit for this because it's Roman Reigns, and giving Roman Reigns credit isn't the cool thing to do right now. He says, "Are you man enough to cash in your money in the bank right now and make the match at WrestleMania a triple threat?" If they had actually gone with this idea, I would have loved it. And I know, there's a bunch of little keyboard warriors in the comment section. "Oh, you're a hypocrite. Oh, you didn't want Daniel Bryan. You didn't want a triple threat." I didn't want Daniel Bryan because Daniel Bryan hadn't earned the spot. Seth Rollins won Money in the Bank. WWE structure says that makes sense. Roman won the Rumble. Rollins won Money in the Bank. Daniel Bryan won all the fans over with his sob story and by crying a lot and not having proper grooming and such. And that's coming from me. But all that sort of thing. Rollins says, "I could do that, or I could do what I always do. I could, bide my time. I could get the scraps after you guys are done killing each other. I could do it the next night on Raw when the whole world is watching." Roman Reigns said, "Or the simpler answer is I could just knock you out right now." Gets one good shot in on Rollins. J&J Security jump in. Rollins escapes. J&J Security eat Superman punches and spears, and that's the end of the segment. It's fine. It's wonderful. Orton mocks J&J Security in the back for being shitty security and not protecting Rollins, and he says to Rollins, "If I were you, I'd march into the Authority and demand a match with Roman Reigns," which Rollins isn't going to do because he's a heel. Dean Ambrose versus Wade Barrett is up next, which means one thing very special. The artists formerly known as The Shield have dominated the first half hour of this show, and that's pretty fantastic. We have Dean Ambrose still carrying the IC title, even though he's not the champion, which is great. We have R-Truth on commentary, which makes sense if you follow the story. We have a ladder sitting on the stage. We have the announcement that all of us have already heard that there's going to be a ladder match with multiple participants at the Royal Rumble for the Intercontinental Championship. Dean Ambrose starts off the match by boot fucking Wade Barrett in the corner. Barrett takes out Ambrose at the knee, chops from Ambrose and an elbow, leg lock and a combination leg lock, face lock by Ambrose, a running elbow, and a bulldog by Ambrose. Barrett locks Ambrose in the ropes and hits him in the face with a lot of knees. Barrett stops to pose with the belt for reasons. Big boot from Barrett on the outside, and Barrett argues with R-Truth. again, for a reason. Ambrose hits a sweet suicide dive and then goes back up and hits that flying elbow to a standing Wade Barrett, which is always... I always like it, and it always seems out of place as a move, but very in place that Dean Ambrose would be the one doing it. Does that make any sense? You know, the falling elbow is something you're supposed to do on a down opponent. Doing the falling elbow on a standing opponent really just makes me think that eventually somebody's just going to get an elbow in the throat, which is, you know, it's kind of brutal, but again, it fits the Ambrose character to a T. I lost my place. Truth steals the belt. Ambrose chops and headbutts Wade Barrett back in the ring. Winds of change and a near fall for Barrett. Harper appears behind R-Truth and takes the belt from him and leaves. This distracts Wade Barrett. Dirty deeds, and Ambrose gets the win. Ambrose still looks strong. We're still playing hot potato with the IC title. The story goes on. We're building to the multi-person match at WrestleMania. It's all fantastic. Most importantly, I mean, considering that Ziggler wasn't in this particular equation, the one that really comes out on top is Dean Ambrose, because the guys on the outside aren't even competing at the moment. Wade Barrett is the supposed champion, and Dean Ambrose is still king of the mountain. Let's be real. I mean, we throw in Ziggler and the goat face at the end of the night, but we're not there yet. We see a replay on SmackDown of Miz stealing Mizdow's commercial role. He gets a bunch of people together in the back, and by a bunch of people, I mean jobbers, let's be real. The Matadors, El Torito, a couple of low-level divas, the newly reunited primetime players, and announces that this is the first screening ever of his new commercial. Mizdow is trying to warn him, you might want to watch it first, he's being all cocky, and it's all fine and wonderful. And what is it? Of course, what is it going to be? It's a commercial for Niagara. You know, me being in Toronto, being near Niagara Falls, made me smile a little bit. Also, it's a playoff on Viagra. It's an erectile dysfunction drug, and Mizdow gets to be the after guy posing with the girls at the end of the commercial. It's all fantastic. They all laugh. The Miz actually had a couple people tweet at me, thinking that this would bother me. You know, look at your boy, he's fallen from grace, da-da-da-da. No, my boy is playing the role that he needs to play quite well. He is playing the quintessential asshole for the purpose of making Damien Mizdow look good, and he's doing a damn good job of it. He is the guy who you hate so much that you want to see him be embarrassed like this. It's great. He accuses Mizdow of setting him up. He accuses him of this, that, and the next thing, trying to make him look bad, trying to steal his spotlight, and he slaps him, and then you see Mizdow actually bow up to the Miz and get in his face and da-da-da-da, and gets reprimanded and backs back down and apologizes, and that's the end of the segment. It's a slow burn towards this match at WrestleMania, and it's fucking fantastic. And like I say, nobody's going to give the Miz the credit for this. They're all going to focus on Sandow and say that Miz had nothing to do with it, but whatever. It's bullshit. Okay. I am going to try and read for you guys the promo that Wade Barrett, or not Wade Barrett, he's already done his part for the night, Bray Wyatt cut on The Undertaker tonight. He came, and I was writing fast, so a lot of this is scratch, so if I can't read it, or if I have to pause, or anything like that, I apologize in advance. He comes out with a casket, with the fireflies going and all that sort of thing. There's a wicked feeling in the air. Can you feel it? What is truly left of the mighty Undertaker? Is he still capable of striking fear in the hearts of men, or have the hands of time ripped him apart? Come on, Undertaker. Come on out wherever you are. WrestleMania approaches. And Undertaker, I think I have something you'll like. I did this. I built this just for you, and I hope you like it. Where are you? Instead of being out here in appreciation, you torture me. You mock me with all of your silence. And I understand your apprehension, but you must understand that everything comes with a price. I've always had a fascination with the instincts of fire. And he pulls out a gas can. Fantastic. Fire has no prejudice, no feelings. Fire has the urge to destroy everything in its path, just like me. And he starts soaking the casket in gasoline. I would walk through the fires of hell just to see your face, and I don't think you know who you are dealing with. You can't hide from me. Nobody can hide from me. Where I come from, everything burns, and at WrestleMania, you're gonna burn too, dead man. And he burns the casket while screaming the words, "Find me," at the casket. It's one of those it's kind of an interesting thing, because it's almost the after effect of the fire that's interesting, because you see obviously the crazed look on Bray Wyatt's face when the flame goes up. When the flame dies down again and it's dark again, you can still tell that crazed look is on his face. He's almost got that, monster in the closet vibe after the fire dies down. It's a very, very cool effect. And when Undertaker does respond, I hate to say this because I have a bunch of respect for The Undertaker, but promo-wise and build-wise, Undertaker's got to do something to keep up with what Bray Wyatt's done so far in this feud. That's just a thing. Kid, Cesaro, and Natalya Neidhart versus the Usos and Naomi, and this is a feud that I am very, very getting sick of. But if we're going to get it one more time at WrestleMania, then whatever. Can I say, and no, it's not just because I don't like her, Naomi trying to join the Usos in the Simatau and the jump and the dancing to the ring is just fucking awkward, and so is her wrestling attire that looks like some sort of cross between a bathing suit and an S&M outfit in a bad way. Kid and Jay to start. They start with chops and elbows a lot. Kid does this really cool thing, or Kid and Cesaro, I should say, do this really cool thing where Cesaro comes into the match, holds his knee out, and Kid drop toe holds Jay face first onto Cesaro's knee. It's nice. Cesaro mauls Jay with a bunch of uppercuts. Samoan drop by Jay, and then Cesaro bails. The ladies tag in. Naomi starts with a big kick to Natty, and there's a pinning sequence that goes on seemingly forever. Natty misses a clothesline and eats a kick from Naomi. Natty does something in this match. She, Naomi tries to tackle her in the corner, and she does sort of like that up and over flip thing that every diva and every cruiserweight do when they're trying to avoid something in the corner. She lands on her foot. She hurts her foot and almost suffers a near fall from Naomi. Kid and Jimmy tag in. They trade kicks and elbows for a little while. Kid avoids the double team and tags in Natty, who's already injured and very, very easily pinned by Naomi, and the Usos and Naomi win. See, this is the thing. I don't like... and the Usos are great. The Usos I saw live this past weekend at the WWE Toronto show. They are good, and they're very entertaining live. They were very entertaining with Miz and Mizdow, for sure. They're supposed to be faces at the end of the day, are they not? So not only did they take advantage of somebody being potentially seriously injured in a match, they also took advantage of a husband putting his own wife in harm's way. Not exactly, why are you beeping at me? Not exactly the most babyface thing in the world, but I get it. It does the job. It tells the story of Kid and Natalya potentially breaking up, whatever. We get it announced that, in fact, we are going to get Rollins versus Roman Reigns later tonight in the main event. We get another video for the return of Sheamus. The only way he could have made me a happy kid was if he had come in and attacked Daniel Bryan, but that didn't happen. Daniel Bryan's got another title shot. Whatever. Cena comes out and does a typical Cena promo. Listen to this mixed crowd. I know you guys that hate me have been loving this in the past little while. I'm not getting my match with Rusev at WrestleMania, but I'll just toss myself into the Andre Battle Royal instead. But don't worry, Rusev is still a marked man. Stephanie McMahon comes out, and it's great. And she says, since when do you think you can just pick your spot at WrestleMania? Since when do you think you can just come out and arbitrarily announce that you're in the Andre Battle Royal? Which is hysterical, considering that's what everybody else is doing. But whatever. She goes on a big personal tangent about how she was friends with Andre when she was 6 years old. They put a picture up on the Titantron of her sitting on Andre's lap when she was little, and she said, I will not have you disrespecting the memory of my friend Andre the Giant. You cannot enter you cannot enter the Andre Battle Royal. And Cena looks up at the picture. The very first thing he says, the first thing I think of when I look up at that picture back then is, you weren't always the bitch you are now. Any WrestleMania moment is worth a lifetime, and I figured me being the 15-time champ and performing at 10 WrestleManias in a row would get me in automatically. And then he threatens to leave. And Stephanie McMahon proceeds to cut a promo that I'm pretty sure everybody in the YWC has wanted to hit at one time or another. Cena, you do not define the WWE. The WWE could thrive with or without you. I think you should sit this WrestleMania out. The crowd starts chanting yes, and Stephanie, right on cue, is like, for once I love those chants. Without you, WrestleMania will still be the biggest show ever because you're not special or unique. Fantastic. And then this is fucking brilliant. They're interrupted, not by Rusev, not by Lana, not by Triple H, not by I don't know, who else would you have? Like a surprise appearance from CM Punk? No. They're interrupted by Curtis Axel, who informs us all that Axelmania is still running wild, and he's now been in the Royal Rumble for 35 days, which is great. And he says, maybe I should take on Rusev at Mania. I'm already in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, but I wouldn't mind having 2 victories at Mania. And loud loud Axelmania chants just like they were in Toronto, which is great. And Steph goes on a big thing about, see, John, this is how you show respect, this is how you show loyalty, yada yada yada. Curtis is obviously rising, you are obviously falling, and you will only get a shot at Rusev if he decides to give you one, which is fantastic, because ultimately the Authority only got to come back a little while ago if John Cena said so. So now John Cena can only have his spot at WrestleMania if somebody else says so. It's a good story follow-through thing. I like it. Friggin' I lost my place. Cena tries to get all somber and severe, and he just says, you know, I'm going to give you a chance right now to leave. If not, you're going to be limping out of this ring. Axel, in only the way Curtis Axel could, what you gonna do when Axelmania runs wild on you? We go to commercial break, we come back, and it is, in fact, John Cena versus Curtis Axel. Before the match starts, I see a Brock Lesnar sign in the crowd. What does the Brock Lesnar sign say? Eat, sleep, no show, repeat. Playing off of, obviously, the rumors from last week, which is funny. I'm surprised that sign didn't get taken away, to be quite honest with you. The match goes on and on and on. Cena's just stewing in the corner while Axel does a lot of Hogan posing, and then he decides it's enough. Cena owns in like 30 seconds. He gets an STF victory. Rusev and Lana come out, congratulate him on his victory. Rusev says, you know, you heard Stephanie, you only get a match if I say you get a match, and my answer is super exaggerated pregnant pause. No. Fantastic. We have a very awkward pre-taped interview. Michael Cole interviewing Arn Anderson, and Michael P.S. Hayes about Sting and kissing Sting's ass and building Sting up towards WrestleMania, because, you know, Sting's been shy and hasn't really said much. Triple H comes out after the break and talks about himself, talks about how he took the bull by the horns in '95 and he just asked Vince McMahon for an opportunity, and he's been in the company for 20 years, won 13 titles, and he's now the COO of the company. I think I've made it, he says, which is fantastic. I offered Sting the world at Fastlane, and he traded it in for one chance to be glorious at WrestleMania. The problem is he chose the wrong guy. I'm going to wipe out his career, lost my place, and my writing sucks. Bad combination. Sting never came here before because, well, everybody has their theories. You know, I'm sure Michael Cole has a theory. I'm sure JBL has a theory. I'm sure Booker T has a theory. In fact, Booker T, why don't you come in here? Because Booker T had said just before the break that Sting hadn't been in the WWE up until this point because Triple H kept on locking him out. And he calls him on it, and he said, I heard you right before the break. You said he wasn't here before because you didn't let him in. What's your theory now? Booker T goes on this thing. He says, I know him. I know you. You'd step on toes. But hey, man, I'm not perfect. I would do it if I was in your position, too. Triple H comes back with, like, oh, you believe that? You think you know what's going on backstage. You sound like one of those little kids on the internet. So nice jab at all of us. I know it's a jab at me too, but you know what? You gotta have a sense of humor sometimes. The way Triple H and Stephanie troll us, I mean, I don't want to say it's great, but I mean it is, right? Like, that's all you can say. Booker T goes on and on and on about Sting. He talks about how he's loyalty, about how he was WCW's finest, about how you can't control Sting. Flair couldn't control Sting. Hogan couldn't control Sting. The NWO and Eric Bischoff couldn't control Sting. Sting is here now, and you got to deal with it. And Triple H is like, well, if nobody can control him, how come he took this long to get here? A lack of control. A lack of control is a scary thing. Thanks for coming out, Booker. By the way, you're fired. So they have another big, long, somber moment. Booker T, you know, are you serious, man? Are you serious, man? Triple H just stands there, stoic as ever, gets his books and gets his binders off the table and goes to leave. Triple H calls him back. He says, come on, man, you're not fired. You're great. I need you at that announce booth. But I hope this illustrates who really has the power. Booker T slinks back to his desk, which is kind of shitty. Triple H finishes off his promo with a bunch of different things, but basically, at the end of the day, he's like, at WrestleMania, I will end the very last remaining strands of WCW. And, I mean, I don't really like the fact that they're doing this whole, well, I'm taking on Sting to take on WCW. I wish they would just do the much simpler, like, I run the Authority, or Sting tried to fuck with the Authority, so I'm going to put him in his place. But if they're going to go the WCW route, The way Triple H has been cutting his promos recently, acting like, I mean, let's be real, the Monday Night Wars, DX were a big part of the Monday Night Wars, and Triple H was a big part of DX. So Triple H can take his fair share of credit, WWE winning the Monday Night Wars. So for him to sit there very proud, very much knowing his part in the Monday Night War, and saying, look, we beat you, and being prideful and boastful and almost overly so, it does work. As I say, it's not the story that I wish they were telling, but if this is the story they're going to tell, I think they're doing it well. I hope that makes sense. Paige versus Nikki, and I will say that the match ultimately doesn't matter. What we get afterwards matters, but kayfabe-wise, Paige versus Nikki for the WWE Divas Championship based on the controversy from Fastlane. Nikki's obviously out with Brie. She's the Divas Champion. Stiff collar and elbow tie up to start, and a slam by Paige. 2 near falls by Paige before she tries the PTO. PTO gets broken, but Paige gets control again and tosses Nikki out of the ring. Once they're back in the ring, because we go to a commercial break, Nikki has her in a combination, sort of a surfboard headlock submission move, and hits her with an Alabama Slam, because why not? Nikki rides a headlock for a good long while, because, you know, that's what heels do. Paige fights out, and Nikki hits a dirty looking spine buster, and then a double clothesline spot where, especially on replay, again, I'm going to use the word dirty, this was a dirty double clothesline spot, because especially in the slow motion replay, there was a lot of impact, and I don't even know whether that was intentional, to be quite honest with you. The rolling clotheslines by Paige get her a near fall. Paige tries the PTO, breaks it to boot Brie off the apron, manages to hit, I can speak, I swear, to hit Nikki with a super kick and lock on the PTO finally, successfully. Nikki's about to tap out. Brie breaks up the submission hold. That's a DQ. Paige wins. Nikki keeps her title. The Bellas double team Paige, and the save is made by AJ. Oh fucking yes. AJ wrecks shop with a bunch of clotheslines and elbows and all kinds of brawling, and it's wonderful. And the commentators go crazy, reminding you of the problems that AJ has had with the Bellas. She's out there with her crazy ass look on her face, with a t-shirt that says "Stay Weird." It's fucking fantastic. Paige and AJ Lee stand tall, giving all kinds of credence to the rumors that I've heard that we're going to get Nikki and Brie versus AJ and Paige at WrestleMania. Now, on the one side, people are going to cry because we're not getting a Divas Championship match if this is the case. Would I rather have a Fatal 4-Way? Absolutely. But it makes sense. Everybody hates Total Divas. Total Divas is encapsulated full force by the Bellas. Now, yes, Paige is on Total Divas, but as the NXT fans will cram down your throat, Paige is the anti-diva, and AJ is the one that went on her mini crusade, her mini pipe bombshell, about the entire cast of Total Divas. So if any two wrestlers are going to take on the two hood ornaments of Total Divas, it should be Paige and AJ. This match at WrestleMania, if it happens, if it's given time, if it happens properly, will be fantastic. There is no arguing this. Okay? It's just a thing. They come back from break, and they are interviewed by Renee Young. So here's me. Everybody leave me alone for a minute, because I've got AJ Paige and Renee Young on my television screen. Oh, yes. Oh, more trolling. More trolling for the Twitter fans. AJ comes back and says that she's come back to fight the Bellas because the Bellas are bullies and she's here to give the Divas a chance. Oh, yes. So she says, and then she goes on a bit of a tangent about, oh, what's that old expression? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. So Paige, I guess we're friends. And she skips off. And Paige turns to Renee and says, well, we're friends. That's a good thing, I think. Which is playing off on how they're both still quite crazy, which is fucking fantastic. I cannot wait for this match. Here's what I could have done without. Seth Rollins hosting his own version of The Daily Show. He refers to Newark, New Jersey as the armpit of America and talks a lot of trash about Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart, old man host of The Daily Show, Jon Stewart, comes out. He panders to New Jersey. He sits on the opposite side of the desk. He tells Rollins that you're supposed to stand when your guest comes out, and does a bunch of like talk show related stuff that nobody gives a shit about. Then he cuts what I have to say, comically, is a pretty fucking fantastic promo. And he says, this show is just another thing that Rollins didn't earn. Rollins looks like a SWAT team stripper with Lady Gaga hair. He hasn't earned his spot like Bruno and Gorilla Monsoon and Foley and Austin and Undertaker did. Cheap pops all over the shop. It's fine. You're a poster boy. You're a poster boy for the Authority. And you know what happens to posters? They get taken down when people get sick of them. That's fantastic. See, even me here in New Jersey, I have respect and you don't. The Authority doesn't give a shit about you either. Because who's fighting for the title at WrestleMania? It's Lesnar. It's Reigns. It's not you. And I really thought they were going to make Rollins lose his shit and agree to cash in his Money in the Bank at that point, which would have been awesome. He said, you didn't even earn that briefcase. I was there in Boston for Money in the Bank, and Kane got it for you. At that point, friggin' lost my train of thought once again. At that point, he's actually going to physically confront Jon Stewart, finally, because, yeah, Seth Rollins would just sit there and get told off by an old man. And just as the confrontation is supposed to start, Orton's music hits. Orton's music hits, distracts Rollins. Jon Stewart hits him with a low blow and runs, and that's the end of the segment. It's fantastic. Back from the break, and Orton basically tells Rollins, no man, I wasn't trying to screw you over, I was trying to save you. If you had beat the hell out of Jon Stewart, you would have been sued, you would have been penniless, you would have been without a job. Continuing the Intercontinental Hot Potato storyline, we have Luke Harper versus Daniel Bryan, otherwise known as the Burial of Luke Harper. We started this match. Now, let's play a game. Let's play a game. How many moves will Daniel Bryan not sell? Just saying. Daniel Bryan, whose entire pity party story is based on him having a bad head, bad shoulder, bad neck, bad this whole area, right? So Luke Harper versus Daniel Bryan. Harper has the Intercontinental title that he stole earlier in the night. The champion is nowhere to be seen. These guys are going to have a great match, aren't they? Harper's got a chance, doesn't he? Harper starts off with a big boot and mounted punches, which works the head and works the neck. Daniel Bryan pops up like a pimple on prom night with Daniel Bryan silly kicks, but Harper says fuck that, counters, dumps him out of the ring, which works the head, works the neck. Back in the ring, Daniel Bryan popping up once again with more silly kicks. Harper does a cool little thing here, because we all know if you pick somebody up like this head first, you're going to snake eyes them. Basically, you're going to drop them face first on the top of the turnbuckle, whereas no, friggin' Harper does this really interesting thing where he actually lawn darts Bryan into the turnbuckle, like sideways, full force. It looks dirty, and Bryan takes the move relatively well, but let's say once again, this should hurt the head, hurt the neck, hurt the shoulder, should it not? Harper then picks up limp-ass Daniel Bryan with an over and under suplex, landing him on his head, on his neck. Harper tries for a powerbomb. Bryan botches the living hell out of whatever the counter was supposed to be, lands on his own head. Oh yes! Lands on his head. Harper hits a super kick and sort of locks in a modified crossface, both of which would work the head and work the neck. Daniel Bryan says, oh, the match is about to be over. Basically rolls over clumsily and awkwardly, and after a bit of awkward struggle, puts on the bullshit lock out of nowhere, and Bryan gets the win. But that's not even the fun part. Barrett comes down after the match to take the belt from Luke Harper's corner where he's got it hung up. Ambrose catches him in the aisleway. They brawl. Harper picks up the belt. Truth takes it. Harper takes it back and walks out. He eats a super kick from Dolph Ziggler, and here's your field for WrestleMania. Ziggler, Harper, Truth, Barrett, Ambrose, and Daniel Bryan. Which means Daniel Bryan's going to win. Which means everybody else I just mentioned is going to get buried at WrestleMania. Yay. Hall of Fame announcement. We're going to get Alundra Blaze in the Hall of Fame. Good friggin' job. The last thing she did in the company, or last thing she did on televised wrestling was throw out your women's title in the garbage on Nitro. Fantastic. Paul Heyman comes out to cut a promo to respond to the rumors about Brock Lesnar. let me set the record straight. My client will be at WrestleMania. He will be anywhere he wants before WrestleMania. He will be anywhere he pleases after WrestleMania. And he will be all of these places whenever he chooses to be and still be champion. You all buy into fantasies. You bought into the fantasy of Daniel Bryan. Let's be real. Brock Lesnar would have squashed Daniel Bryan under his boot like a bug. Fantastic. You now all buy into the fantasy of Roman Reigns. Yes, he's a badass Samoan with a chip on his shoulder, but Brock Lesnar is going to Ronda Rousey your ass. Believe that. And because I know enough people that watch UFC, I actually have context for that reference because I don't watch UFC. But at the same time, I'm not going to argue with Ronda Rousey. This is a thing. Roman Reigns comes out for his match. Paul leaves. Rollins versus Reigns is your main event. Starts off with a shoulder tackle. Rollins bails. Collar and elbow tie-up leads to a slam by Roman. 2 inverted atomic chocks by Roman, which is great considering the low blow that he got from Stewart earlier. Roman catches a Rollins kick. Rollins attempts a kick. Roman catches it and knocks him down. Great. Roman works over Rollins' arm. Several different, twists and turns and submission holds and whatnot. Eventually ending with a snap arm wringer, which looks really, really nice. Rollins eats turnbuckles and comes back with a really wicked drop kick. I won't say he's got the best drop kick in the company because that's clearly Dolph Ziggler, but I mean, he's a close second for sure. I mean, I'm a fan of Rollins, don't get me wrong, I'm not taking a dig, but he's got the second best drop kick in the company, which is great. Roman punches Rollins, and he takes out J&J Security in the process. Roman eats post when he attempts a spear. Orton's music hits. Ooh, dun, dun, dun. Roman tries a Samoan drop, and Rollins chops him at the knee. Rollins rides a headlock, because that's what heels do. Roman counters it into a sidewalk slam. Roman hits 2 running clotheslines and a tilt-a-whirl side slam on Rollins. Roman tosses out Mercury when Mercury tries to get involved. Rollins hits an enziguri, which looks pretty damn pretty. Second rope super back body drop by Roman. Roman clotheslines Noble off the apron in the process. There's 2 sequences here that come up next that are really, really good. Rollins attempts a roll-up on Reigns. It doesn't work, so he rolls completely through so that he's standing. Roman is kneeling, and he hits him in a super kick. He hits him with a super kick from the knees, which is really, really nice. Gets him a near fall. But Rollins, in the second sequence, Rollins tries to come off the top rope. Roman catches him in midair, rolls him into a roll-up. That doesn't work. He rolls him through again and turns it into a one-arm powerbomb, similar to the one that Sin Cara uses on NXT, but it looks fucking beast, because look at the size difference between the two of them. So one amazing sequence by Rollins, one pretty fucking decent sequence by Reigns, even though most people won't admit it. Punches and kicks, and Rollins is tossed out of the ring. Again, Roman takes out Big Show, and Kane attacks him with a chair, so boo. Rollins misses the curb stomp. Superman punch for Rollins. Superman punch for Kane, who's on the apron. Orton grabs his foot for a small distraction, which is kind of bullshit because it leads to a roll-up victory for Rollins. But Roman loses his shit after the match. He goes basically tech on all the members of the Authority. He does, and people are going to shoot me for saying this, but he basically rebounds off the ropes and hits the Undertaker-style suicide plancha over the top rope on the entire Authority. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you like. That was impressive. And he takes on everybody. He takes on everybody. Spear for Kane, Superman punch, and a spear for Show, and a spear for Rollins that, as the commentator said, nearly cut Rollins in half. Now, this means that Orton is pretending to be on Team Authority a little bit longer. I'm assuming that means we're going to get some sort of match between Rollins and Orton next week, which is fine. We've seen that on pay-per-view, and it's not horrible, despite what some people will tell you. We've got a Divas match pretty set in stone for WrestleMania now. We've got the ladder match set and ready to go. We've got Miz and Mizdow being built like a slow burn, like I like. The World Championship is being built up as much as we can without Brock Lesnar being there. Cena and his downtrodden, I don't know if I'm going to be at WrestleMania story is kind of starting to take fruition. Sting and Triple H is being built as much as we can without Sting being there. Bray Wyatt and Undertaker is being built completely by Bray Wyatt because Undertaker's not there. I don't know. There's 3 matches on the bounce where it's like so-and-so's doing this because so-and-so's not there, but doesn't deter me, guys. Doesn't deter me whatsoever. I I know I've said in past videos that I think the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal is going to be won by Mizdow tossing out The Miz at the end, which I think will be a great moment. But, I wouldn't mind at all if Curtis Axel won the Battle Royal, I'm not gonna lie, because the whole Axelmania thing, as dumb as it is catching on for him. And, I mean, we didn't even touch on it this week, but we've also got Golden Stardust to build up to. Everything is going fantastic for Mania. I enjoyed this Raw a lot. I took a redonkulous amount of notes, if you can tell by all the paper I'm crumpling up. Yeah. You got about 20 more days if you want to get your questions in for the next Ask the Phoenix Q&A. All you guys and your participation in that has been great. I know I haven't tossed you guys a fan interaction video in a little while. There might be one this Friday, there might not. I really don't know at this point. But if there is, thank you in advance for your participation in that as well. My stuff's always in the box below, guys. Find me on Facebook, find me on Twitter. Andre Corbeil, as for what I said in my intro there. I'm just having a bit of a rib, just having a bit of fun. I really don't think I look like Scott D'Amore, though. That's also not a thing. But find me on Facebook, find me on Twitter. When you're watching Raw, when you're watching SmackDown, use the hashtag #tweetalongwithspaz if you want to tweet along with Spaz. Anyway, you guys are great. I'm having fun. WrestleMania is in 27 days. Talk to you guys later. Bye.